Okay. Hello, everybody. We are live here with Nikhil. And let me get rid of my playlist. We're live with Nikhil. And he is the CEO. What's the name of the company that's making Mumbai Gullies?
It's the company's name is Gameon Studio. So I have worn this hoodie of my company. So yeah, that's the name of the
Yay!
company. It's not
Shout
Game
out.
On as usually people pronounce it. It's Game Eon. There are two E's in the name. So
Game
yeah.
Eon.
Game Eon.
Cool,
Yep.
cool.
That sounds cool. I like that a lot.
Is
Uh,
there any
Thank you.
particular meaning to it or
So actually, the story goes like one fine day when I started this company way back when I was all of 18, and at that time we were just deciding names for a company. Initially, we used to just call our group as Creepy Decoders, but we realized that there's a huge problem with that name. So one fine Saturday, we used to have these Saturday to Saturday meetings where we used to brainstorm about names and all. So one fine Saturday, what we did was we took two whiteboards. On one whiteboard, we wrote, words related to games, and on the other whiteboard, we wrote random words, and we combined game and eon from those. So yeah, there's no particular meaning to it. It's just a combination of two random words.
that's cool.
So how
Thank you.
how I think the question on everyone's mind is how similar or dissimilar is Mumbai Gullies to something like Grand Theft Auto?
Okay, so Mumbai Gullies and Grand Theft Auto are two different games. If you look at generally open world games, there are many open world games out there. Like there's Sleeping Dogs,
Yeah,
which is kind of a cop's take, an undercover cop's take on Hong Kong City. There is a Saints Row, which is completely over the top,
right.
and then there's Watch Dogs, which is a tech game. So similarly, Mumbai Gullies is very different from GTA because it has its own soul. It has the intent of Mumbai Gullies is to showcase Mumbai with a new perspective. Generally, people when they hear about Mumbai, they are like they think of Dharavi. They think of the image that maybe Slumdog Millionaire has
Mm.
portrayed to them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much more to Mumbai city than just the slums. We are a proper city. We are, to me, Mumbai city is more like New York City, honestly, and I believe that. So this is how Mumbai gullies will be way different than GTA because you'll get to do a lot of hilarious and fun stuff that you cannot possibly do in GTA. So yeah.
So it's closer. Would it be? I've never played Saints Row, but would it be closer to Saints Row in that regard?
No, Saints Row would be is a completely different tangent because Saints Row is completely over the top.
Mm-hmm.
What you could expect is you could expect elements from GTA, you could expect elements from Sleeping Dogs, combine them, and there'll be some of our own unique taste to it as well.
Mm-hmm. That sounds pretty cool. That sounds
Thank you.
really exciting. Does it bother you when the immediate comparison of Grand Theft Auto comes up?
It would because most of the people actually end up comparing the games that are made in house to these AAA titles that are made abroad. I would request people only not to compare us with GTA or anything. It's our own game. It's great that people, but it's also great that people are comparing our game with such big titles.
Yeah.
It's quite an honor, and if we are able to even achieve 60% of what they have done,
Mhm.
that would be a great thing for us.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, that's where my mind went because it's an
Yeah.
open world game in a city, and
Yep.
you're saying it's like New York, so then it'd be closer to Grand Theft Auto 3. Liberty City.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, that's naturally where my mind went, just because of my sheer excitement for such a thing. That like I never
Mhm.
thought it was going to happen. That you'd have an
Yeah.
open world game in Mumbai like that, because everything you see based in India is always like ancient India, the exotic
Yeah.
country, as opposed to something that's like
Yeah.
modern and cool, like what you're doing. Um,
Absolutely.
but and so, can you tell us anything about like the story in the game? Because all I've really gotten is just the city.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, in terms of the storyline, if I were to just tease a little bit, it'll be a story that will span across three eras. So you will get to see Mumbai shape up from the 90s to how it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's the story of a character. Currently, we're not disclosing the character's name, but it's the story of a character who grows from very modest beginnings and ends up becoming a well-known gangster. and along his way, how he rises to the top, how he has to make sacrifices, how he has to make connections to grow in the city. So it'll be a very interesting take on sacrifices plus the glamour that this city brings to you. It is many people do regard this, at least in India, as Mumbai as the city of dreams. So that will be showcased heavily through this game. You have everything in the city. You have some amazing malls over here. You have some great landscape. You have a whole full-fledged national park over here. So right where I'm sitting, just 10 minutes away from me is a national park. So there's this
Wow.
huge variety of animals that we've got over here. So there's this huge diversity, and through this narrative, through this storyline, what we want to portray is we want to take the character through Mumbai city and make him interact with the city and hopefully make him fall in love with the city as well.
Do you get to eat everything like Indian style, like pani puri in the game?
Yeah, you would. In fact, that is the major highlight.
Oh,
So
really?
Pani puri is
there-
the highlight. You beat the
yeah.
game.
I want to craft pani puri. That's what I want to do.
So we've got some amazing cuisines out here, right? And that will be reminiscent in the game as well.
So in the super chats here, we've got Kamal Shashank, who he said, "Hello, fellow Indian game developer." He gave
Yeah.
me this shirt, and he gave me
Okay.
this jacket because
Awesome.
he worked on Borderlands 3, and so
Amazing.
yeah,
Wow.
I'm a huge Borderlands fan. Because of the I don't hate me for like all my questions regarding like other open world games. Yeah.
Not an issue.
But in something like Grand Theft Auto or any other open world game that takes place in a city, there's a lot of what do you call it? A lot of freedom with what you're allowed to do in terms of like the violence. Can you tell us
Yeah.
anything about that? Like how it compares to the mature thematic level of Grand Theft Auto?
Obviously, when you are talking about an open world game, there will be a lot of freedom that will be given to you, and that's also a part of the fun that you can experience in the game, because these things are something that you cannot possibly do in real life without having some consequences. But inside a game, you can just feel free, and there were these. I remember these Smosh, this Smosh channel wherein they used to make people react to the violence in GTA games, right? And at the end of the videos, these people also ended up making a conclusion that the violence that is depicted in the games need not necessarily be replicated in real life, and that really, if a person is of sane mind, he wouldn't replicate the same things that they are doing inside a game. After all, it's just for entertainment purposes.
Right.
So that's my take on it. And if people are kind of trying to emulate the violence that is there in the game, it's not a fault of the game. It's something that is inherent with the person. And this is I know it's a very sensitive topic to touch upon, but it is what it is. Games are a creative medium. They offer you the freedom to do anything, which is what is offered to us in real life, right? I mean,
Right.
you are living, and you have the moral decisions to you have your moral compass to either take a right decision or a wrong decision, and ultimately you have to face the consequences of that. In games, you get the freedom to not have the bad consequences, so you have to kind of put a full stop and know your right from wrongs when it comes to games.
Speaking of rights and wrongs, one of my favorite things to do in GTA 5 is to go to the strip club. And I'm not the only one, because I saw here someone, I've missed their name, but they also asked, will there be a strip club in Mumbai Gullies? I want to know.
So in Mumbai Gullies, so in the city itself, we have a completely red light area, which is called I don't recall the exact name, but there's a red light area.
Why did
We
no one
try
take
to
me to
include
this
it.
red light area? No one took me there when I was in Mumbai.
I mean, it's one of the shadiest parts of the city,
Oh,
and
yeah.
people generally avoid going over there. And so, yeah, that will be over there. This part will be included inside the game. I'm not sure. We'll have to do a bit of research. Personally, I've also never went there.
You look like a
So
good boy. I was not surprised that you didn't know the name of the red light district. I'm like, yeah. Or else
Yeah.
you're just lying.
No. So yeah, that's something that we will be including. Yeah.
Okay,
So we got a couple of questions in the super chat or both super chats and live chat. I'm going to throw at you.
Okay.
One is from
Sure.
this is a super chat from Vivikand Fasale. He says, "So proud of you, Nikhil. Very happy
Thank
to
you.
see India made games which look and compete with big games like GTA. First Rossi, and
Thank
now
you.
Mumbai Gullies. Very excited."
Yeah.
And so yeah, you're gonna. I think it's natural that that comparison happens, and I think it's dope that
Yeah.
Yep.
one of the things I wanted to ask you about before I continue on with the chat questions is how big is your team compared to a team like what you would typically find for Rockstar games or for my favorite game of all time is Infamous 2, which is based in a city that's kind of like New Orleans, and I'm
Yep.
imagining that was Sucker Punch, which is a very big team that recently made Ghost of Tsushima. So how big is your team compared to these AAA titles
So
companies?
absolutely. So currently we are a team of 30 people, and it is comparatively very small compared to all these AAA studios.
Yeah.
It's like we are tiny in front of them. But the advantage that has worked for us is that we started this company way back in 2013,
Hmm.
and since then till now we have worked on a lot of mobile games. So what we are looking at is kind of also sustaining ourselves by making some mobile titles which
Hmm.
will help us grow our team to that level, because obviously when it comes to making a game of this scale, even right now when we are looking at the technical challenges, they are huge in scope, and these are something that at the moment cannot be completely handled by us. So what we're doing is that within our 30 member team, we are doing as much as we can. Rest of the extra load that is on us, we are kind of outsourcing that to other companies. So we are working closely with some other studios that will aid us in order to make this dream come true, actually.
A
Wow.
lot of
So
people are
currently we are 30.
A lot of people are asking about, and I recognize that when I saw your video, I was like, this is a
Yeah.
small team for such a game that it looks
Yep.
really, really ambitious for what it
It is.
is. And there's a
It
couple
is.
questions here. One is from Harshvardhan Shukla. He says, will the game graphics be as good as GTA?
Yeah.
But my question is, off of something like Watch Dogs, if you remember that whole
Yeah.
debacle, will the
Yeah.
final graphics look like the trailer at all? Or will,
So I'll give you a little bit of insight thing on the trailer. We had made the trailer inside Unreal Engine itself. So what you're looking at is going to be actually the quality of the game that will be shipped out.
okay.
So
Okay.
we are trying our level best to maintain it. Because personally, even I'm a gamer, or I've been playing so many games since my childhood. I've played all the GTA series. I've played NFS. I've played Watch Dogs as well, Watch Dogs 2. So I kind of understand, as well as I've played Witcher 3 and got slightly disappointed with Cyberpunk 2077. So we kind of understand that, as gamers first, that we whatever hype that we are creating right now, we have to live up to that hype. Otherwise, we will fall flat on our faces. And that's the biggest fear for me, is that whatever we are making right now, we are making with a lot of passion and a lot of love, and I personally wouldn't want this game to end up being a. It's fine if the game doesn't do good in terms of sales.
Mhm.
That's a long term to think of, but I would love it if the game ends up being what we actually imagined it to be. So fingers crossed. I'm definitely hopeful that the end graphics will be what we are showing you right now.
I just want to say thank you to Abdul Blardwaj. He says, you all are awesome, guys. Keep up the good work. He just super chatted. And
Thank
so,
you.
I recently watched a video on YouTube. I forget from which channel. It may have been Infographics talking about how there are a lot of video games out there that are made to sometimes to completion. One of them being GoldenEye remastered that never see the light of day. And
Yep.
oftentimes you have these games with these ballooned budgets that are
Yeah.
like 75% of the way through and then they get shelved. And
Hmm.
so my question is like, where is the budget for Mumbai Gullies coming from? And will there be a thing where you need to outsource, not outsource, but like source from something like crowdfunding at all? Will that have
Yeah.
to come into play at all?
Yeah. Sure. So currently the development is self-funded. Whatever we made from our mobile games, that is completely going into the development of this game right now.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, we also have a crowdfunding active on our website. We have mumbaigullies.com.
Can you put that in there?
So
It's already in
people
there.
can
That's
go
right.
ahead on
Right.
mumbaigullies.com and they can support the game monetarily with whatever funds they can.
Okay.
Third source of revenue is we are actively building our mobile games portfolio as well. So right now, my particular thing is that we need not rely on an external investor to make sure that our ship is afloat. My whole perception is that we will consider ourselves to be at the worst position, and if between that something comes up that's a positive blessing, then that's great. But we cannot kind of relax ourselves and be in the comfort zone and think that things will work out the way that we want it to. So we are kind of cushioning ourselves with every possible decision that we can take to make sure that we are uncomfortably in the position that we can support the development of this game.
Uh,
So three things: one, mobile games; second, the crowdfunding campaigns; and third is again the new portfolio of mobile games that we will be launching under our belt.
a
Cool.
quick thank you to Archipel Ray. He says, "Hey Nikhil, we are so proud of you. You're putting out the culture of India
To the
to the
world.
world." Two questions. First one is, do you have a release date yet? Second
Mm.
question is, do you plan to making it into a franchise like GTA? Would hope you take Kolkata for sequel.
Cool.
I don't have a release date as of now. Internally, what we've, but I can give a little bit of detail is that within the next 9 months, we will be having an alpha demo for the players to take a look at. So it'll be a very closed version that we'll be giving out to certain people to play and experience. And with that small alpha build, we will kind of test out and make improvements to the game. Internally, we have charted out a minimum development time of 2 years, and that is 2 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But that may exceed because the scale is absolutely huge. Now, to answer the question of will this be a franchise? Most certainly, yes. We are planning to launch sequels, and internally, we have also decided that currently we are making Mumbai, but there will be surrounding areas. That there's this a part of the town called Navi Mumbai. There is Thane area. So these are surrounding areas that will be included in the DLCs, as well as if the game does well, we will surely be having parts to this game. Perhaps maybe we can have Kolkata Gullies, as he mentioned, as well as we can have maybe Delhi Gullies as well. So we'll try to bring the whole culture of open world to India with that. But I wouldn't comment on that right now before we have Mumbai Gullies ready to the potential that we have planned.
Will a character at any point say Apna Tamaiga?
Yeah, and there will be a lot of Hindi abuses as well. So yeah.
Amazing.
Uh,
This is how you're gonna learn Hindi,
yeah,
Chappie. You're
oh,
gonna play the
great.
game and then suddenly you're gonna be fluent.
Sabari says, we want the game in Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada languages. So, off of that, I wanted to piggyback and ask how many languages will be present in the game? Is it just Hindi? Is it English? Is it Hinglish?
Yeah, so primarily we are aiming at three languages. So one is Marathi, which is the whole and soul language of Maharashtra.
Mm-hmm.
It's the state where Mumbai is situated. Second is Hindi. Third is English. But yeah, we have been getting a lot of requests from people to cover the game in Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, and all these other regional languages. And I feel that these languages are also very important. However, at the current scale that we have, we are it would be too early to comment on whether or not we'll include these languages in the game, but it will surely be an effort from our side. So, not giving a confirmation, not denying it as well at the moment.
So
Okay.
because how in something like Los Angeles, something, what's the name of that game? There's a racing game, something Midnight LA.
Oh.
And or even
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto. Sorry to go back to that. I'm trying to think of other games not to reference instead of Grand Theft Auto. But
Yeah.
in something like Midnight LA or Grand Theft Auto, when it's clearly mapped after a city like LA, in Grand Theft Auto 5, it's more of an homage to LA. In Mumbai Gullies, is it like an exact like? Could I use this to learn the map of Mumbai, or is it more like an homage to Mumbai?
It's an homage to Mumbai. I'll tell you why. Because personally, as an Indian citizen, I wouldn't want to risk the security of the city. In the past, unfortunately, we've been the center of some
Right.
unfortunate attacks.
Right.
So that is definitely a responsibility that I take on myself as an Indian citizen. That we shouldn't give a walkthrough of the city.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It will be a fun take on Mumbai city. So it will be a fictional version. However, we were just working out some maps, and we are going to divide Mumbai into what was originally 7 islands. Actually, if you look at old Mumbai, Mumbai was actually a part of 7 islands.
Oh,
History of Mumbai shows that there were 7 islands. So we are going to kind of divide Mumbai into 7 islands and pay a small tribute to the old Mumbai.
oh, cool.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Kamal Shashank is asking Unity or Unreal or proprietary?
Unreal.
And oh, you did say that earlier, didn't you? I wanted to know, and for everyone in the chat, don't worry. I'm gonna go to your. I wrote down a bunch of your questions. I wanted to ask if things like Mirzapur or Gangs of Wasseypur or Goodfellas, like American gangster films, like what do any of these properties have influence on the way you're telling the story in this game, and how movie-like is it given how cinematic games can be today?
Okay, so Mirzapur and Gangs of Wasseypur, these are not based on Mumbai city. So I would take some references from maybe Sacred Games, because that
Oh,
was
okay,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
more close to the city that we are in. Most certainly, there will be a lot of Bollywood influences in the game, because that's what makes the Mumbai, right?
Right.
And personally, I am a huge fan of SRK,
Hey.
so I am going to be putting his house as well, Mannat, wherein people can go ahead and tribute. So yes, there will be a lot of references to pop culture and Bollywood in general, as well as a lot of Easter eggs around the city. Probably yeah, and yeah, this is also a confirmed thing that we can tell you, is that you can actually visit our Gameon office inside the game as well.
That's
So
really
perhaps you
cool.
can come ahead, and if you don't like the game, you can maybe punch me in the face inside our office, something like that.
That's a very Hideo Kojima level thing to do. I mean, he puts himself in the games all the time.
Yeah.
So, Simran Ahuja asks, where did he go to college? How old is he?
So I went to this Thakur College of Engineering, and currently I'm 26 years old. My birthday is coming on 31st March, so I would expect a lot of birthday wishes, and I'll be turning 27 on 31st
Wow.
March.
And you said you started Game Eon when you were 18?
Yep.
That is wild. Oh my God. Like I can't believe it. What was I doing at 18? Well, wasn't starting my own business, that's for sure.
I did try to like start a video game company at 18 and it failed miserably.
Yeah, well done
Awesome.
you.
Yeah. Is the, RK Gaming is asking, is there any children and natural calamities like real life in the game?
Okay. Well, natural calamities is something that we haven't thought of at the moment, but yeah, there will be children.
Okay.
Can you hit the children?
I mean, as I said, we are giving you the freedom. What you do with that freedom is all up to you.
Don't hit the
So,
children.
just a second ago, you said that there is some Bollywood reference, like you said, SRK. I
Yeah.
imagine there will. So, a couple of people, but in particular, Salman Bai was asking, will there be Bollywood references?
Yeah, there will be.
For
There
sure.
will be. And there will be a lot of festivals as well. I would also like to highlight this aspect, is that, India is a land of festivals.
Mhm.
We have one or more than one holidays every single month, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
there will be a lot of festivals inside the game. It'll be very colorful. It'll be very enigmatic to go through that experience. And yeah, most certainly, because earlier when we were going to release the poster, we were actually, instead of that wall where you see Mumbai Gullies,
Mm-hmm.
there was actually going to be Amitabh Bachchan over there.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'll send you across that photo later on. But initially we had done that, but obviously we wouldn't know what kind of copyright implications that would have. So
Right.
we didn't put that up in the trailer. However, yes, there will be some very interesting references in the game.
I had a curiosity in the
Yeah,
reaction video you had to our reaction.
yeah,
I noticed that you had some female colleagues, and
yep,
I I mean, you probably already know where I'm going with this, but my question
yeah.
was that a deliberate choice that you wanted to make sure you had diversity in your team, just to get more, perspectives, or was it just like that? It just happened to work out that way.
I mean, when we're hiring, we don't really look at the genders. It's you either have the skills or you don't. So our hiring decisions are based on purely on that. We don't look at the genders. If they are excelling or they are good at what they're doing, they're welcome to be a part of the team.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like over here in the States, there has been some controversy around like that particular topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just thought I'd
Yep.
bring that
Yep.
up.
I'm aware.
Priyanka Indrawat asks, "Is it a free game or do we have to pay for it?" And
It will be
also
a
like
paid.
on this note, like people are
Yeah.
curious about where this is going to show up, where the game's going to be available.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it will be available on Steam and Epic Games, and this will be a paid game. What we are thinking of is internally we were discussing that in order for people to actually believe in the product, they should get to try it first. So we are going to have a demo version with some playthrough for them, which will be free, and then we will be having paid offerings, which will have like a base version. Then there will be some extended deluxe edition and platinum edition in addition to that. So the game will be available at a very affordable price point. So it can cater to each and everyone. So the demo one will be free.
Mhm.
It will be a very limited and restricted gameplay. And there will be a paid game that will be distributed via Steam and Epic Games.
How do you feel about game demos in general, as a
I
thing,
uh,
just as a
I
concept?
I- yeah, they're kind of frustrating, because they give you all these dreams and then they take it away from you behind, and then they ask you to pay for it,
Yeah.
which is, this happened with me. But it's a great marketing tactic, I believe. I was playing this game, Sleeping Dogs, on PS3 back in the day, and within the first 10-15 minutes, I loved the gameplay.
Mhm.
So, I had made a decision in my mind that, this is an amazing game. I would love to pay for it and I would love to try it.
Yeah.
It's like, in India, we have this tradition. Whenever we go into a sweet shop, we always ask for complimentary tasting. So, if you want to buy some cashews, which are some coated or flavored cashews. So, you go ahead to the shop, you ask them for a demo. And
Yeah.
if you like that demo, then you end up making a purchase. So, yeah, that's my perspective on demos.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because there was, I don't know if it was a study or just like some kind of business analytical thing where they found that game
Mhm.
demos actually hurt their sales more, at least as far as American companies go. That game
I
demos
see.
hurt their sales, so they just stopped putting them out, which is
I
weird
see.
to me because that's the reason I got into Metal Gear Solid. That's the reason I got into
Yeah.
Infamous. If it wasn't for those demos, like I would never have gotten into the game. So I love
Yeah.
demos, and I wish they still did them, but like it's not so much a thing anymore. Harsh is asking, will we be able to play cricket like IPL tournaments? Can we have our own team in Mumbai Gullies?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And this is where I would also love to tease one small fact is that currently we are working on a mobile version of a cricket game, which will actually be end up. Some of the models will end up in Mumbai Gullies as well. So the games that we are working on right now are going to be small additions to Mumbai Gullies. Mumbai Gullies is a massive, magnum opus that we're working on. But in parallel, we are making many games that will end up being a part of Mumbai Gullies. So if you look at GTA San Andreas, right, there are a lot of small games. You can actually end up going into a video game console inside the game and play a game inside a game.
Oh, that's
So it's
cool.
like gameception.
That's really
So
cool.
yeah, you will be able to play cricket and all the interesting Indian sports that are out there. I wouldn't comment on hockey, but cricket is definitely one game that we are going to include.
Uh,
So wait, speaking about your mobile games, how would people support you with those games? Like, do you just search Game Eon or like how because I want to support you is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like, how do I get on your mobile games?
So it's simple. Currently, we have one account on the, Google Play Store, that's Gameon Studios.
Okay.
These are our very old games. But recently, we had a portfolio under Gameon. So we had two accounts. One is Gameon Studios, one is Gameon. Under Gameon, we had games that had over 100 million plus downloads, which very recently we took an exit from. That kind of helps us get to financially where we are right now. However, right now we are also rebuilding that portfolio. So by mid March or so, you will see some more games that will be out there in the market. One of them is a cricket game. Second, we are working on a fighting game as well. So these are the games that will be announced. And if you want to support me, do subscribe to my channel. I put out regular updates on my channel, and you can catch up with those updates and support us.
while we're talking about supporting, for the crowdsourcing, because I have not been to the website yet, are there any
Yeah.
rewards for people who?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are actually, and we have four support tiers. the very least amount of a support tier has you getting a Discord role inside the server. You will get 3 wallpapers. Plus, you will get whenever the game launches, you will get the access to the game as well as the demo version of the game. So whoever supports the game will be getting the demo version of the game very very early on. And we the highest support tier has a boxed edition, wherein we will be packing in all the disk ROMs in it, as well as we will be having a physical version of the map, paper map.
Oh, that's
So yeah,
cool.
these are the benefits for that.
Althul K is asking for your thoughts on Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay. Uh, okay. I mean, from a development perspective, it's marvelous. But they ended up making some decisions that kind of hampered their sales. Plus, the early reactions were actually pretty good till people started discovering all the bugs and all. And I think CD Projekt Red, the development team is amazing over there. They've got some amazing developers out there. But as the CEO himself recently in his video accepted that it was more of a management decision rather than a development debacle, which is where the game ended up losing its faith on the people. But I'm pretty sure they are doing their level best in order to improve the game. The same thing happened way back in 2016 with what I remember was No Man's Sky. So there was this game
Oh
way
yeah,
in the
that was a whole.
testing.
That's still going though. I mean, that's right. I mean, they're still developing that. I mean, or updating that game.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Uh,
Absolutely. So that's my perspective. These developers, they are in the long run for this. This is their bread and butter. And if there is so much backlash from the community itself, I'm pretty sure that these people will go ahead, listen to their community, and kind of rework on the game. So those are my thoughts on Cyberpunk 2077.
Subtarshi Chatterjee says, ask him about kites.
Ah, okay. So Kites was actually when we started this company, that was our very first game. And when we launched the game, we launched it as KYTE. So it was a spelling mistake, which was done purposely. I am actually a huge fan of kite flying because every year we have on 14th January this festival called Makar Sankrant, wherein I used to go with my dad on the rooftop of a building, and we used to fly kites. So that was the inspiration. And also, earlier I mentioned that we used to have these Saturday to Saturday meetings. So very early on, when we wanted to start making games, we were having this one meeting where we were very confused. What game should we make? Obviously we wanted to make a big game from the very beginning. We wanted to make a game on Mumbai City way back in 2013 only. But obviously we were not, capable at the moment at the time. So every Saturday we used to have these discussions, and uh, what kind of game should we make? So one fine afternoon, what happened was after a very frustrating discussion, we just stormed out of the office space. Actually, okay, so there's a lot of things so when we started this company, we were operating from my old house, my grandparents' house. So
Okay.
unfortunately, my grandparents passed away in 2011.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry to
after
hear
that, the
that.
house was very much empty.
Yeah.
My dad had converted the front space to his own office space, but the backside was completely empty. So we used to occupy that space, and we had made it into our office, where we used to have these meetings. And one fine afternoon, when we were just walking out, one of the team members, he observed that one boy was flying a kite on the road, and that's when we realized that this is the game that we want to make. So we ended up learning a lot of things along the way, because obviously as kids we had, when we started the company, honestly we had no idea how to make games even, let alone business. For almost 2 years we made absolutely no money, zero, from games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the journey.
Um, sorry if I keep looking over here. I'm just getting questions from the chat every now and then. I forgot
No
to
big
tell you
deal.
that at the beginning of this live stream.
Yeah.
Normally, I prep my guests, and I'm like, if I'm not looking at you, I'm not being rude. I'm just, trying to get questions. So, I had a question before I go back to the chat questions. When I'm
Yeah.
playing something like Grand Theft Auto 5, one of the things that I find intriguing is the button I can hit to interact with NPCs,
Yeah.
and so I guess my question is like, how many talents, how many actors and actresses are you involving in filling in the NPCs in the game, can your main character interact with them? And for me personally, I'm wondering when your main character interacts with him or her, the NPCs, is it
Yeah.
only negative stuff that they can say? Because like when I'm going around the city in Grand Theft Auto 5, I can only say negative things to random strangers in the street. And it's like it's
Yeah.
funny, but it'd be interesting if there was a positive thing that the character could say as well, and not just something negative and like insulting.
Yeah. So in terms of the voice acting, currently we are just charting things out. It's still in the planning phase, so I don't have a complete answer to you for that, honestly.
Okay.
But internally, in terms of the tech part, what we figured out is we will be having 1,000 sets of NPCs, which we'll be
Whoa.
modifying. So now recently the technology has advanced so much that we can kind of take some tools and character creators in order to make such NPCs. So that's one thing. In terms of the reaction, Mumbai is filled with a lot of interesting reactions that you can get over here.
Yeah.
So Mumbai is a city wherein you will find lovely sarcasm.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if you've seen this Two Foreigners in Mumbai.
Yes.
What's the name of
I
the
feel like
film?
we have. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's this interesting video wherein he's driving a rickshaw, and then suddenly he's driving very erratically, and then suddenly I think the scooter guy or the bike guy, he rams somewhere, and then he suddenly he says "andha hai kya," and then abusive word. So there will be an interesting take of character dialogues and interactions that you will be having. And another thing is we are also going to include temples over here. So you can actually
Oh.
go ahead and take blessings as well. So a lot of things will be revealed very much. I think it's too early to comment on most of the things right now because we are very early on. Maybe we'll have another live session and I'll have some more answers for you in the next 3 to 4 months, maybe.
That's cool.
Cool.
A lot of people have been asking about PC specifications for the game.
I can't give at the moment. I personally, I don't know. A lot of people are asking me about the PC specifications. A lot of people are asking me how much space will this game consume.
Mhm.
So it's all a part of the asset development. I think this will be answered. I think maybe when we have the demo ready, the alpha demo ready, because that will give us a base line for the specifications. But at the moment, I don't have any specs.
Little while back, Satyakam Shashwat. I'm just catching up on the chats, you guys. I apologize. Satyakam Shashwat said, "Not to intimidate you, Nikhil, but when can I play the game? Take my money, please." So we
9 months
established
from
2 years, huh? So say again.
9 months from now, he will be able to play the alpha version of the
Okay,
game
gotcha,
if
gotcha.
he opts for the crowdfunding.
Gotcha.
Like a baby.
Ashutosh Bajpai says, when it says Mumbai, how big Mumbai are we talking about? Is it only South Bombay, or does it include things like Mumbai's periphery? You said islands
Sure.
earlier.
Yep. Sure. So in terms of the area, if you look at Mumbai, it's around 600 square kilometers. Like if you look at GTA 5's map, that is 88 square kilometers. So that's already huge in terms of scale. However, what we are looking at is just showing 400 square kilometers of map in Mumbai. And most certainly, they will be divided into 7 islands. So it will showcase you suburban Mumbai as well as the south side of the Mumbai. South side of the Mumbai is what is generally regarded as the real Mumbai. But even the suburban Mumbai has its own charm. As I mentioned, there's a national park over here, so you can go over there. In the Goregaon side of the city, we have the film city, wherein most of the Bollywood movies are shot. So there will be a mix of areas. We are going to omit certain areas which we find that maybe these are not that intriguing or interesting to showcase, not to hurt the feelings of the people living over there. But there's only so much we can do. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Venkata Narayana asks, how long has Nikhil been working on this game?
Okay, so this game has been a dream of mine since 2009, but we started development very recently. That is in the month of November,
Okay.
November last year.
Oh, that's very recent.
Shit. Yeah, that's
Yep.
So how long did it take you to get that trailer together?
So it took us around 2 months time. Actually, we were working on it, and we realized that we were kind of falling short on the team strength internally. So we also bought in another studio, and we kind of worked with them in terms of the asset development. The studio's name is Vayu Digital, which is what I have also mentioned in the previous videos. So yeah, it took us a total of 2 months of time to get the trailer up and running. We decided on the cinematic shots and all of those stuff. Actually, I've put up a video of this, the making of Mumbai Gullies trailer on my channel as well.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. Oh,
okay.
we'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
A
Yep.
couple people in the chats, I lost the name, are asking if there's nudity in the game.
Uh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You seem uncomfortable with some of the aspects of your own game.
I mean, these are a reality of real life, right? So
Right.
these will be included in the game.
But Aditya Kadam wants to know for sure, is it going to be censored or absolute nudity?
I would have to get back on that. I'm not sure how the game, or I don't think there is any kind of censor in games, right? Because
No.
if
Well,
you look at
actually, a long time ago there was, but not anymore. In Metal Gear Solid
uh
1, when Solid Snake breaks out of the little prison cell, there's a
yeah.
soldier on the floor and his butt's in the air, and it was blurred out. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, because I remember playing God of War 3 as well as Witcher 3, right? There was a full-blown nudity in that. So I think we might end up taking that risk.
Cyberpunk 2077 hits you right at the top.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right at the character customization.
Yeah. Shunak Kanade says, "Will it be a linear story, or do your actions change the story?"
At the moment, we are thinking of having a linear storyline.
That makes sense. I mean, I was curious, like, is something like Mumbai Gullies possible today because the technology has made it easier for a small team to do it? Or is it something like you could have probably just done a less polished version of this 10 years ago all the same?
Oh, I don't think I could have done it 10 years ago because honestly, we had no expertise. And even right now, we are still in our learning phase. So it's still a very long way for us to go. However, yes, technology has enabled us to do a lot of things because these big engines right now, they've gone free. Unreal Engine, for that matter, when I had just started working, I think Unreal Engine was available at a license fee, which was a bit steep for us. So recently, due to the developments in the tools around game development, it has become much more easier for anyone with a passion and team to make their dreams come true. So, I know the developers of this one game very closely called Raji, which was
Mm-hmm.
released recently, and
Achara bought that
this
for the
this game was
Switch.
also published on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
So these people are also, their team is also very small compared to the AAA titles out there, but the quality of that game is so good that it matches the quality on an international standard. So yeah, it because of the technology right now it is very easier. 10 years ago, if we would have made the game, it would be very difficult in terms of the talent as well,
Hmm.
because this is the era of open GL that we are talking about. All these technologies that have now become dinosaur for us. So yeah.
Oh shoot, sorry, I lost my questions here. Is there a Ghost Thanos 69 wants to know, is there a day and night cycle?
Yeah, there will be.
Sumitra Asmilan super chatted and asked and said, "Hi, I always enjoy games like Dota 2, Heroes of New Earth, League of Legends. Is company interested in making this kind of game?"
No, we are not at the moment.
And Aditya Chahal says, "Will there be an online mode or missions like GTA? Really gonna buy the game, no matter how much it'll cost."
Aw.
So there will be missions, but at the moment we are not planning an online mode. As the team that we have is has very limited set of expertise. Certainly, we don't have the expertise for an online mode because that brings a whole new level of infrastructure along with a lot of funding. So currently, we are just focusing on a single player narrative experience.
Gotcha.
Nitika Bala has joined in with a super chat. She said, Jabby requested the makers of the game to throw him in the game while watching the trailer. So, is he in the game standing in a nook or corner?
Just to give a small hint, you can actually interact with Jabby in the game. I wouldn't give out the specifics, but yeah, he will be in the game.
Someone actually commented and said, "Let Jabby be a Playboy character." Salman Bhai. I mean, that would certainly go in line with the persona that I apparently have, even though that's
Yeah.
not representative of real life. Um, there's a couple of questions regarding music. Tommy Vercetti said, "Will there be Bollywood songs on radio stations in the game?" And someone else, I lost it somewhere, said something about indie artists. What's the music situation going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This is also a discussion that we are having internally because we most certainly want to put in radio stations. I think nowadays there are APIs that can help you fetch the actual internet radio inside the game. Because I remember playing Euro Truck Simulator 2, and you can actually listen to European radio stations in it.
Wow.
Along with that, we are definitely going to approach a lot of indie artists because the amount of music that you can get from these indie artists and the talent is amazing. This also reminds me of this new series that is Scam 1992, right?
Yeah.
And this very lesser known artist, I think his name was Achint, right?
Hmm.
So such an amazing artist and such a catchy groovy tune he came up with. So yeah, we will be most certainly inviting many independent artists if they want to contribute their music to the game.
Fun fact: the artist who did the theme song that is often used on my Jabby Koei channel, I found him through Far Cry 5. Like,
Awesome.
did you ever hear this story? You haven't heard this story, right?
I haven't, no.
So I was playing Far Cry 5 because I was just looking for PS4 games to buy, and or Xbox One games, either one. And so in the
Yeah.
game, I heard this song on the radio inside the game. I'm like, that sounds like a really cool song. So I soundhounded it with my phone, and I
Uh-huh.
downloaded it. And I asked Achar, I'm like, do you think like he'd be cool with me using his music on my channel? She's like, he's too big for you. Don't even bother. And so I emailed him. He emailed me back, and now we're friends. And so he sends me songs to put on the channel all the time. And so
Awesome.
the reason I'm bringing that up is because absolutely that'd be great for indie artists, like as a means of getting their music out
Yeah.
there. So I think that's
Correct.
cool. Ashutosh Bajpai asks, is police going to be like Sigam, like, or is it going to be like real life with pot bellies? Also, please
Uh,
add Sachin Tendulkar and Shivaji Park. Please have anti-piracy bugs.
so in terms of anti-piracy, the game is going to get cracked anyway.
Right.
So that's a small gray area. I don't know how we can tackle that. Police over here are very interesting because they some of the police out here are very dedicated to their jobs and they are very honest. But there are some notorious characters out here. So we'll try to portray it in the way it is. The Singham, you don't really look at see these kind of Singham characters over here. I think it's just Bollywood that has ingrained it into our brains.
Right.
Yeah, but there are some really amazing police heroes out there. We remember the late Mr. Vijay Salaskar, who got martyred during the unfortunate Mumbai bombings, right?
Mm.
So we will be trying to pay tributes to such heroes, as well as try to kind of expose some of the notorious ones, perhaps.
A couple of people are asking about donations, saying it's only supporting Indian rupees. There were some people who said it doesn't support U.S. dollars, and they want to be able to contribute. Is there a way for people in the U.S. to contribute?
Yeah, actually, we had enabled a payment gateway that supports US currency. I'll have to probably check into the backend with the development team and fix this thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Currently, yeah, it is supporting Indian currency.
Okay.
Oh,
Go ahead.
my thing I just wanted to say
Yeah.
for everybody watching this, I think it's just so important, like, in order to support homegrown talent, is to not download a pirated copy of the game. Just pay for it so that,
Yeah.
we can keep having more games like this come out and
Yeah.
more people can feel inspired to, do what you've done and create a cool game
I
that's
agree.
based in India
Thank,
and made by Indians,
thanks.
I agree
Thanks a lot.
100%. Yeah, me too. Shijo Philip says, "Hey Nikhil, after Mumbai Gullies, you should develop a game like God of War with a story based on Hindu mythology."
Yeah, I think that's interesting aspect to look at as well. But I think there are studios out there who have a particular set of goals that they want to work with. So, for example, you will never see Rockstar Games trying to attempt a mythological game.
Right.
Right.
So I think we have some amazing talent over here. There's this Nodding Head Games who have got the formula right. They have done it with Raji, and I think they can do much more justice to a mythological game than what we can. So what we would like to do is we would currently like to make sure that we get one thing right, and then once we have that right, maybe we can think of some other aspects. It would be interesting to work on a mythological game. Maybe I would help out some people on a consulting basis, maybe. But yeah.
Um, Thakor by Joshi says, "Where can I donate?" I know people come and go in the chat, so you can go to the website that is in the
It's in
description
the description.
below.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
mumbaigullies.com.
and so Krishna Rampal a little while ago said, "Manat is great, but will we get to see Antilia?"
Oh yeah, Antilia is also this Mr. Mukesh Ambani's home there. Yeah. We will be including that. Yeah.
Um, when I play something like Borderlands, which is a game I love, for some reason, like when you've reached the edge of the map, it just basically says you're outside of the play area and then it kills you. How will you handle stuff like this in the game? Because you said you were talking about basically pulling like a Destiny and like adding in expansions where you can go to other parts of Mumbai. So how do you handle walling off people?
We'll just place an invisible wall. That's it.
Just like,
Um, so you don't want to have like a construction area or like there's an accident, people can't get through.
Because we are having 7 islands, right?
Yeah.
So you can't really restrict anyone to. It's any which way surrounded by sea.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha. Will people be able to go in the water?
Yeah. They will.
Okay.
okay.
Will there be any water things like boats, jet skis, or?
Yeah, there will be boats, and so in terms of vehicles, yes, there will be a lot of land vehicles. There'll be a lot of air vehicles. You'll
Ooh.
have rickshaws. You'll have
Yes.
bikes. You'll have cycles. Cycles, I'm unsure of at the moment. Technologically, we don't know how to get that right. But most certainly, we'll be trying to cover all the vehicles that we can possibly. Definitely cycles as well, because a lot of people in Mumbai, they visit a national park to just cycle through in the mornings. So yeah,
Okay.
that will be also be very interesting to put into.
I had a question that just fell out of my head. God damn it. Oh, will there be weathering effects like rain and stuff like that?
Yeah. There will be.
Okay, that's awesome. Ashwin Matthew is asking how big the game is going to be. I think we basically covered that
Yeah.
already.
He can't answer that right
Yeah.
now.
So, how to get started with game development from Ninja Voss?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Okay, so is this guy an Indian?
I believe so. Most of these questions are from Indians.
Okay, if he's an Indian, he can go to my channel, and I've answered so many questions related to game development in Hindi. But for the people who don't understand Hindi, it's just trying to learn the ropes of the business, or not even business. Learn how to make games, launch very quickly, because your first game is bound to fail. You cannot expect your first game to hit 1 million downloads or make you an overnight success. So just learn how to make games, learn the craft, and enjoy the process. Don't think of it from a perspective that it'll earn you $1 million right at the beginning. Although it's not a wrong thing to want $1 million, certainly it makes a lot of things easier for you.
Yeah.
But just give justice to the craft of making this. Learn the tools out there. Read a lot of books. Watch a lot of tutorials. A lot of people think that it's very easy to get into game development. It's not right off the bat. I would discourage you from getting into game development if you think that this is very easy. It's very intensive in terms of because there's also a lot of competition out there on a daily basis. Or just on Play Store, there are almost 2,000 games that get launched on a daily basis.
Right.
That's one competition. Second competition is already the apps that have dominated a user's phone. So you're not just competing with the new 2000 apps that are getting launched on Google Play Store every day. You are also competing with the likes of Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, on all these big companies for storage space. So it's a heavily competitive market. But if you end up making a really good game, you will end up making a lot of money. There's also always this classic example of Flappy Bird. That game at its peak was earning what $50,000 a day, and that happened by accident, right? One fine day, PewDiePie covered it, and he said that do not play this game, and suddenly everyone started playing that game.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are miracle stories as well. Yeah, that's how you start with game development, with a lot of passion and the hunger to learn. And as and when you keep on learning, you improve yourself, and yeah, it's a continuous process after that.
Do you ever follow Insomniac Games?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
So the guy who started the company, his name is Ted Price. I used to train with him in martial arts back in the day, so we kind of grew up together. And
Okay.
I remember talking to him. I mean, he's much older than me, but I remember talking to him about like trying to like maybe get a game made. And he's like, "Look, you
Yeah.
don't get into this industry to make money. You get into this
Yeah.
industry because you're passionate about it. If you're not passionate about
Absolutely.
it, don't bother with it." I was like,
Absolutely.
that stayed with me. So, um, I wanted to ask you about because I'm so sorry. It's like in Grand Theft Auto, you can get into a taxi and start like driving
Yeah.
people around, or as a cop, you can solve missions. Is there anything like that
Yeah.
with rickshaws here, where like maybe you don't put on the meter and you just start charging people arbitrary money to drive them around?
Like in Delhi.
Yeah, there will be all these things, but I would like to highlight a very interesting aspect about Mumbai that would end up being a part of the game.
Okay.
Is that if you have you ever been to Mumbai?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so have you been inside a taxi?
Yes. No, we were inside of a rickshaw and an Uber, but not a taxi.
Yes.
Okay, so if you get inside a taxi, these taxis over here are called Kali Pili taxis, which translates to black and yellow taxis. And inside each of the taxi, if you look above, there's a texture, and the texture is different inside every single taxi. So you can just I don't know, Kali Pili taxi. There's a Instagram handle. There's this very talented lady. All she does is she posts selfies of her with the rooftop of the taxis being shown. So each and every taxi out here has a different texture. They're like floral patterns. There's some kaleidoscopic effects in there. So this is an
Wow.
interesting detail that we are going to put up in the game as well.
Hmm. Achara and I watched a video from Vice talking about truck drivers and how each of their trucks are quite customized. Will there be anything like that?
I would have to do some research on that. I'm not aware of that.
I'll send you a video or something.
Cool.
But so with all the questions flying in and how we actually have a substantial amount of people who are tuning in for this conversation that we're having.
Awesome.
I am curious about if you feel any like pressure because did you expect this kind of response from the game trailer when it dropped? It seems like this is like huge, a lot more than maybe you were even expecting.
Um, I would be lying if I said that I wasn't expecting such kind of a response, because honestly I was.
Oh, really?
I kind of wanted to put out this city in the eyes of the international audience. Yes, now it is a big pressure because all the games that we are going to make henceforth will directly be compared to Mumbai Gullies, right?
Right, right.
Even the small mobile games that we are going to make, they will be compared to Mumbai Gullies. And then if we do a poor job at them, then people will be like, "Oh shit, this is the studio that makes Mumbai Gullies. Oh my God, we are never going to play this Mumbai Gullies as well."
Right.
So it is a bit of pressure, but I'm very happy that we are able to put this dream out there and people are resonating with it. And the very interesting fact is that I've got a lot of support as well from the gaming community. Like, this is one of the community that actually supports each other. I'm not sure about the competition in other industries, but in game development specifically, it's a very close knit community, and people actually support the efforts of the other game developers. So it's very interesting to see that people are supporting the game in the way that we imagined it to be, and to a certain level, it has grown beyond our imagination. I never, and I'm very grateful for this. That I never thought that you would end up watching Mumbai Gullies and reacting to it, because I started watching your channel way back in 2016, And as I mentioned it to you, it helped me through a lot of my bad times as well. My sister at the time used to watch this individual named Toma Puck.
Yes.
Yes,
uh,
yes.
Yeah.
yeah, and once you start watching these videos, YouTube algorithm starts working out for you, and that's when your channel also popped up. So never in my wildest imaginations did I think that my game would be covered by you. So huge thank you for that.
Yeah, of course, man. I mean, I'm excited. I'm very excited for
Yeah,
it.
so
Yeah,
cool.
You were talking about the gaming community just a second ago, and just to come back
yeah,
to that, Vaishnavi
sure.
Nandakar asks, the Indian gamer community is definitely growing, but is the game developer community growing as much too?
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, it is. It is. Because the quality of games that are coming out of India has also significantly increased. We as a development market are kind of 5 years behind the globe at the moment.
Hmm.
We're still catching up. But having said so, there are some amazing games that are being developed from India, not just in the PC space, but also in the mobile space. So there's this really cute game called Masala Express, which is launched by Simple Studios, CYMPL, and their studio is based out of Pune. It's a neighboring city, and they're also doing an amazing job. Then there are some interesting companies out here. One of India's biggest games development company called Nazara Games
Hmm.
is now headed to have an IPO, and this is going to be India's first game development company to be listed on the stock exchange. So
Oh,
yes, the
wow.
development community is also growing, not just in the big company space, but also in on the indie games space. Because as I mentioned earlier, the technology has enabled us to take huge leaps. So yeah.
Ashwin P. Nair says, make Achara a foreign antagonist in the game.
I love it.
I
Uh,
mean, if Chabi is a part, Achara will definitely be a part.
Yay.
That's
Byron Dindwall says, live, Achara should play the leader of a crime syndicate. You know,
Oh
she,
yeah, I'd gladly play a madam or something and just be like,
awesome. I
Nikhil,
will.
yeah, we'll chat about
Yep.
that later. Nikhil Lad says, question for Nikhil, is that, will the roads be congested in game like in real life or made less congested to allow chase sequences?
ooh,
We're actually taking references from the real scale. In Mumbai, the major problem is that of the traffic.
Hmm.
We are trying to simulate the crowd in order that it can support on a decent hardware.
Yeah.
But yeah, there will be slight congestions that will be showing up. Not to the scale of what it is actually, because here the level is crazy. Like
yeah.
you at times just to cross 2 or 3 kilometers, you take up to like 40-50 minutes or so. That's that congested at times.
This is sort of a random question that just popped into my head. Is your main character male or female, or is it an option?
It is a male. We are not giving character customization options
Gotcha.
at the moment.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Satvik Gupta says, I am a game dev, and I don't even know if some of these questions who I'm reading from, I don't know if these people are still here. So I apologize for taking a long time. Satvik Gupta says, I'm a game developer, and being an indie game dev is really hard. Only the ones who have experienced it know that.
Mm.
Yeah,
He's just
that is
adding
true.
to it. Aditya Valiv says, do we have a local train in the game?
I saw a lot of
Yeah,
people asking about the local train.
yeah. There will be. There will be.
Jayanth Shankar asks, any plans for a PS4 release?
No plans at the moment. Currently, it's going to be a PC release. However, we are fortunate enough to be in a building with a major games distributor just below us.
Mm.
So our office is on the fifth floor, and we have a major games distributor just on the fourth floor. And the other day, we had a meeting with them, and we were just discussing plans about the PC. So they are going to help us with the planning of the console releases as well.
Oh, cool.
However, again, that would be too early to comment on. So, not shooting myself up or hyping things that we don't have completely planned out within.
One of the things that I personally loved about so fair play fair play attitude. We answered that question earlier. There will be temples and Indian monuments in the game.
Yep.
Um, so one of the things I loved about Infamous, just the game franchise, and you can do the same thing in Spider-Man, I suppose, is basically go
Yeah.
anywhere you want. Like you can go on
Yeah,
any rooftop you want. Is there any element
yeah.
like that in this game, or is it limited because like it's a smaller game, obviously, than like something like Spider-Man?
No, no, no. There will be you will be given that level of freedom. You obviously there will be some lesser interiors,
Hmm.
you know, and there will be buildings that you cannot enter into. However, yeah, you will be given the freedom to roam around as you want.
Um, it's simply Sumanth says, will it have ray tracing?
Yeah, yeah, ray tracing. Yeah, it will be because we are trying to support RTX graphic cards. The hardware itself is very costly at the moment, so we have kind of managed to arrange some for the office. So yeah, that's an investment that we have made.
Off of the question I just asked you a second ago, Viren says, will we be able to cycle on top of Mumbai's Dharavi slum roofs?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that would be interesting. We haven't thought of it yet, but that's an interesting idea to think upon.
Will roads get flooded after rains? Shreyas wants to know.
Oh my God, this is a technological challenge that we'll have to think of how we can manage it. We'll not commenting anything at the moment, but yeah, hopefully.
Can we get? I'm sorry, I lost. Oh, here it is. Sahas Ranshu asks, can we get controller support?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You will have controller support, and you will also have that steering wheel support when you're driving a car.
Oh.
So we have a hardware that we have recently got for that.
You said a second ago that the main character you're playing as is male. As far as just support characters in the game that are on your side, are there any female protagonists?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
there will be.
Shrey Mitra was asking, will there be a female protagonist? So I don't know if you're allowed to answer this kind of question or if you want to talk about it, but Ashutosh Bajpai asks, has any major developer approached you guys for a merger or acquisition or a collab for this game?
We have been in talks with some of the big names because after the trailer got released, we got approached by a lot of people.
Hmm.
We haven't got an acquisition offer yet, but what we would love to address is that we would love to work with a publisher because obviously we at our level are just a 30-member team. Having a
Mm.
big publisher would most certainly help us go to the next level, and that is something that we are open on, as well as we are actually talking with a few publishers. I wouldn't like to name them at the moment, but yeah, this is something that is going on in the background.
When we were in Delhi, even maybe in Mumbai as well,
Yeah.
there was areas where you could like bargain for things that you wanted to buy. Is it possible for that kind of thing to be in this game, or is that too complicated?
Not sure. I'm not sure. It is most certainly a part of the culture that we always bargain.
Yeah.
Let's see. It would be interesting to think upon.
It just popped into my head right now. I'm like, what else
Yeah.
can I ask?
Yeah.
Um,
Because there are so many things out there in Mumbai city that makes it a completely new game. It's like it's got its own charm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think you already covered this a bit, but I'm going to put the question out anyway. Why Arya says, what are the side activities that'll be available to us?
Okay, so side activities would be going out shopping for your character,
Hmm.
eating local street food. You can drive around in taxis. You can invest in share markets.
Oh, okay.
There's a Bombay Stock Exchange over here, which is widely famous now recently because of the Scam 1992 series as well.
Right.
So you can invest in stocks. There'll also be a fictional Gameon stock in there, so you can invest that, and that'll always be performing high. So a tip for anyone who wants to invest and make some money in the game, invest in Gameon stock.
Do we get to bribe traffic police? Rohan Nishana is asking.
Yes, 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 you do. And this is an interesting, mechanic that is also a part of the Mafia 2 game, if I recollect correctly.
Okay.
You can actually bribe the character. Yeah.
Um,
Oh.
so Sunny asks, he says, please don't
Yeah.
abandon the game in the middle.
I'm pretty sure I won't, and fingers crossed for that. This is my dream, and it has stayed with me for since almost more than a decade. So most certainly, we won't be abandoning it.
RK Gaming says, does the game have Indian style fighting like holding collars when NPCs fight each other?
Wow, I mean, this is the sort of interaction that I actually love doing with people because most of the things that during the development that we can't even think of is suggested to us by people. So I will. We haven't thought of this at the moment, but yeah, we now that he's talked about it, yeah, it's an interesting detail that we can actually add into the
How
game.
does that work? Is it just like,
Let's
what does
not
it
let's not
mean?
mess up my shirt. This came from a game developer. So
Oh.
my young Sarkar asks, and I wanted to kind of piggyback on this: is Nikhil celebrating Valentine's Week?
I
And
already know.
the reason I wanted to piggyback on this is because, and I'm sure you know where this question is going. You obviously, being an indie game developer, you must be working crazy hours all the time. And in
Yeah,
addition to that, you've got a YouTube channel. So you're a really busy guy. What's it like
yeah.
having a relationship while having this profession?
It's lovely, it shows you the kind of balance. My life is completely imbalanced because I wake up, I straight away come to the office, and I'm in the office till late evenings or even late nights for that matter. So I kind of try to balance it out by reserving my weekends for a relationship.
Yeah.
It's very difficult, but I'm very fortunate that she understands. So yeah, I do have Valentine's plans, and Achara knows about them.
Hmm. Let me tell you guys.
Okay. Uh, Kapil Lanjawar says, will there be, a lot of people are asking this question,
Yeah.
will there be cheat codes?
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? I would like to talk about a fun fact is that my typing speed increased only and only because of using cheat codes. So yeah, this is something that I grew up with and would love to have it as a part of the game.
Um, just while we're asking random questions, is eating food going to have any sort of effect on your main character? Like, yeah,
I don't think we are going into that level of detail.
okay,
So no,
okay,
no.
cool.
Just for
I,
fun.
I, I kind of hated it in Metal Gear Solid 3, but I'm just, when you're playing something like
Yeah,
Last of Us, it makes you wonder why it's not in the game because like there's all
yeah,
this crafting involved. So just thought I'd throw that
yeah.
out there. Hitmaniac asks, what are your favorite games that you've played?
Mm.
Okay. So I've played a lot of games. Right off the bat, GTA series. I've played GTA Vice City, San Andreas, GTA 4, Saints Row, Sleeping Dogs, Need for Speed Most Wanted, the 2005 edition, Need for Speed Underground 2. Then I've played a Split Second Velocity. I've played obviously the classics Mario and Snow Bros and all these games. Road Rash, Midtown Madness, Uncharted series. I've completed Uncharted 2, yet to complete Uncharted 3, Last of Us. So basically, I've wasted a lot of my time.
I
But you
wouldn't say
know
that. I
games.
wouldn't say that. It seems like, I
I mean,
mean,
my mom definitely says that.
it's your life and it's your passion. It's like,
Yeah.
Yes,
it's not a waste of time for a director to watch a lot of movies. So,
absolutely.
will there be a lot? I mean, I'm sure the answer is yes, but will there be a lot of potholes in the game? Can you take
Yes,
psychedelics or alcohol in the game?
And
yes,
maybe walk funny for a while.
Because of
Okay.
the alcohol.
Yeah.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
that's all
yes.
there.
Yes.
Sahil Sharma says, add Vada Pav as energy food.
What was that?
Add Vada Pav as energy food.
Vada
Vada pav. Yeah,
pav.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Vada pav, pani puri, pav bhaji, all these things are going to be a part.
Priyanshu asks, do you have any plans to approach big Indian streamers to provide them with an early gameplay?
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of big Indian streamers have taken a look at the trailer and they have shown their support as well. I'm connected with a lot of big YouTubers out there. Thanks to, all thanks to the community that I've built over so many years that it's actually paying off now. So right off the bat, if I can remember, there's this huge PUBG player called Scout. He has shown us
Yeah,
support for the game.
yeah,
Then there was also a comment from Tanmay Bhatt
yeah,
on our channel's trailer.
yeah.
uh, and there's MythPat. I think the big YouTubers are also very excited.
Yeah.
Recently, Carrie Minati reacted to the trailer and he called it GTA 67. That was kind of hilarious, but I would love it if Carrie would play the game. Yeah, we haven't been able to reach out to him, but it would be great if he would.
Wait, you're not the only one who's trying.
Yeah.
I actually spoke to him on Instagram and we had a short exchange and he was down to do an interview like this and then he just
Uh-huh.
stopped responding and I'm like, I don't know what I said. But yeah, I think the answer is no to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it was a super chat. Vansh Parwal asks, will we be able to role play in the game, like GTA
Role
5?
play in the sense,
That's
so,
yeah.
so role play is a part of the online mode, right? And
Oh,
currently we don't
gotcha.
have any plans for online, so
Mm-hmm.
no.
Kamal Shashank seconds what I said because he's a game developer. He says playing games as a game developer is not a waste of time. It's research.
Yes.
Research.
Research,
Research.
yeah.
And I mean, hey, it's you're taking what ideas and figuring
Yeah.
it out.
Yep.
Kipa Nitin says, "I'm an indie dev from Northeast Makin, a Koei fan,
Making a Kawaii
making a
fan
fan
game.
Koei game. Oh, Koei fan game. That's cool. Your source code
Wow.
and game studies have helped me with my take on game dev. I wanted to ask, do you think it's okay to use the asset store, or is it unacceptable?"
It's actually looked down by a lot of people, but I don't know why, because people who actually put out the assets on the asset store put it out with the intent that other people buy their assets. So it's nothing wrong. When you look at a game from a business perspective, let's say for example, if you want to make an endless runner game, right? Let's say if you want to make a Subway Surfer game. So now you have to kind of divide the Subway Surfer into multiple modules. There is the 3D aspect, there is the gameplay aspect, there is a game balancing aspect to it. So if you make this game by yourself, definitely it's going to take you at least 1.5 or 2 months time,
Oh.
because you have to do everything from scratch. But if you end up getting assets from on the store, because obviously you're making an endless runner game, what can be different in an endless runner game? So there are people who have actually made such systems, and they put it out there for $30, $40. It's a wise investment, and maybe if you can just tweak these assets a little, you can save up your development time. Instead, if you can make something in 2 months, you can end up making it in around 15 days. So
Oh wow.
it's just smart work versus hard work.
Uh, Archit Garg asks, "Will you show the garbage bad side of the city?" And you said yes early on in this
Yeah.
conversation. Salman Bai says, "Jabby Playboy cheated Achara, but he found out, or she found out, or no, sorry, let me rephrase this.
Read it
Let me read
again.
it again because it's just confusing. Jabby Playboy cheated Achara, but he found out that she was a gangsta, so he ran to India." That's this whole backstory for the Jabby Playboy character. What do you think of the future of gaming in India? Piracy is a big barrier for the success of games in India. Opinions. P.S. Will Jabby get a free copy of the game?
Oh, absolutely. He will definitely get a free copy of the game. In terms of the Indian space, if you look at most of the market in India, it is towards the mobile segment, right?
Hmm.
People are not really focusing on the PC market, so hence they are not really affected by piracy. If you look at the mobile market, there are proven tips and tricks that you can use to monetize games, which is primarily through ads, and secondly, it's through in-app purchases. So I don't think piracy is affecting the Indian scene right now, as long as they are not focusing on the PC market, because majority of the people over here are focusing on mobile. Now, when it comes to piracy, I look at it from a different perspective. That if people are willing to pirate your game, it is something that you've already made it. I look at it as a mark of approval. People are investing their time to pirate your game because they want to genuinely play your game. Yes, it does affect the sales of the game, but it's a necessary evil. Microsoft is what it is because of piracy. I'm
Right,
pretty sure most of the systems out there are not genuinely running Windows copies, right? So
right.
that's a necessary evil that you have to survive with.
I was sort of curious about this myself, and I was reluctant to ask the question. Atharva asks, "Can we change the view of our character, TPP and FPP?"
Currently, it is third person.
Mhm.
Uh, Probably not sure to comment on this right now, but I
How
don't know how
how complicated is that kind
difficult
of
it.
thing for a game developer to?
It's not that complicated. You just have to, if the camera is over here, you just have to shift it over here.
Oh.
But will it be enjoyable? Will it be interesting to have a first person mode? That is the question.
Right.
Right.
So we'll have to do a little bit of A/B testing. We'll have to involve users and look at their feedback for that.
We're coming up on our last few questions here because so
Sure,
Sunny850 says, "Don't rush things. Take your time, else it'll become
absolutely.
like Fa G. Fo G. What does that mean?"
Wow.
Yeah, so 4G was a game that was recently launched on Google Play Store. It was endorsed by Akshay Kumar, and
Oh,
that game ended up getting some negative reviews actually.
Wow.
whoopsie.
Yeah.
Raylock says, "What is your opinion? What, in your opinion, is better, masters in game dev design or bachelors? Because it was hard to find a masters in game dev in U.S. I'm from India."
So honestly, in terms of the educational aspect, I'm not sure which is the best education because everything about game development that I've learned is self-learned. I don't have a master's or bachelor's in game design or game development. I would recommend you to just go out there and go through their syllabus. But I think it would be wrong to advise anything from my side because I haven't gone down that path and I don't know the my research on that end. So I wouldn't want to misguide you on that.
Sure.
So our last two questions here. So you guys, if don't super chat anymore, because we're going to wrap this up. Rajat Hari says, "Will it have a co-op feature to play with friends?"
Since it's a single player experience at the moment, no.
Can you look for Nunchika23 super chat? I don't know what he's talking about
Yeah.
because I have no
Okay.
idea. Natika Bala says, "Will there be stray dogs and cows as well on roads?"
Yeah, there will be.
Did you find it? Will there be Senna/MNS dudes in the game? I don't know what that means.
Oh, yeah. So that's a political party in India. We
Okay.
are not going to take any kind of real life political parties because then it might get politicized a bit. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. For people who are chatting, like if you're super chatting less than 100 rupees, it's hard for me to see it, and that's just the way the system's built. I didn't make it because I don't own YouTube, so I apologize if I missed your super chat. I have no control over the system. I'm doing my best to manage. Anyway, those are all the questions that I thought were the most interesting in the chat. For people whose questions I missed, I apologize. Did my best, but I thought this was very educational,
Yeah.
and thank you so much for giving us your time to talk about the game.
Thanks to you as well
Yeah.
for inviting me on your channel.
Yeah,
It is actually one of the dreams come true.
it's definitely for me as well because I'm excited about this game. And
Yeah.
I got to learn a lot about the game development process from your perspective.
Awesome.
You guys, make sure to head over to the website in the description to support this game.
Yes.
Do not pirate it. Like when it comes out, just buy it, and you can support it now. Get an early access to the you said the alpha of the game
Yes, yes,
when it's
yes.
in about 9 months from
9 months.
now.
It's a baby.
Yeah,
Right.
so go ahead and support if you can using the link in the description below. I'm definitely going to.
Yes.
And let's all get our hands on it as soon as possible.
Yay.
So,
Yep.
so y'all be good, and yeah, follow Nikhil on his YouTube channel as well, also in the description below. Peace out.
Thanks, everyone.